It was a rainy October night in 2014, the kind that drenches everything in an eerie gloom. The highway stretched endlessly before me, darkness swallowing the Midwest landscape. I was driving alone, with only the sound of rain pounding against the windshield and the dull hum of the engine for company. The clock read 11 p.m., and I was eager to just make it home. Then I saw her, standing on the shoulder of the road, illuminated briefly by my headlights. A young woman, soaked to the bone, holding a sign. "Help!" it read in shaky, waterlogged letters. My heart immediately sank. What was she doing out here, in the middle of nowhere, in this weather? My instincts screamed, "Don't stop!" But guilt gnawed at me like an unwelcome passenger. What if she really needed help? What if I just drove past and something terrible happened to her? Hesitant, I pulled over, ensuring my car was still idling in case things took a turn. She climbed in without a word, water dripping off her frail frame onto the seat. Her pale face was framed by damp, stringy hair, and her hands trembled as she whispered, "Thank you." "Where are you headed?" I managed to ask, though my voice felt tight, unnatural. She murmured a town's name, a place I'd passed hours ago. Something about her felt off. Her presence didn't feel quite real. The air around me grew heavy, like the oxygen had been sucked out of the car. I tried to focus on the road while sneaking glances at her from the corner of my eye. That's when it happened. My stomach dropped as I turned my head fully to glance at her. But she was gone. The seat was empty. My chest felt like it had been crushed. My hands started shaking on the wheel. I slammed the brakes and bolted out of the car, searching in every direction. Nothing. Just rain and the sound of my own labored breathing. Then I froze. On the foggy interior of my windshield, written in uneven, dripping letters, were the words, "Don't look back." My blood ran cold. I didn't wait to question it. I jumped back into the car and tore off into the night, refusing to glance into the rearview mirror. To this day, I don't know who she was, or what she was. All I know is that the words on that windshield weren't a warning. They were a command. The wheels hummed beneath me as the empty stretch of Route 66 disappeared into the night. It was past midnight, and the endless desert on either side of the road made me feel small, isolated. I'd just left a friend's house and was ready to be home, ready to shake the eerie stillness that comes with driving through the middle of nowhere. That's when the headlights appeared in my rearview mirror. A truck. Its lights were blinding, and its sudden presence jolted me from my sleepy haze. The truck barreled closer, far too close for comfort. Its horn blared, a deafening sound that pierced through the quiet night. It felt aggressive, menacing. My heart pounded as I switched to the next lane, but the truck followed. Every move I made, it mirrored perfectly. Panic clawed at me. Was the driver out of their mind? Were they trying to run me off the road? I hit the gas, desperate to create distance. The truck matched my speed effortlessly. Fear turned to survival instinct, and I floored it, gripping the wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. And then, silence. The truck was gone. No screech of brakes, no sound of a passing vehicle. It simply ceased to exist. Relief washed over me in the form of shaky breaths, and I eased off the gas. But just as I began to calm down, I heard it. A voice. The crackling static of my radio came to life, though I hadn't turned it on. Through the distortion, a low, gravelly voice murmured, "Next time, you won't be so lucky." I froze, gripping the wheel as chills raked down my spine. There wasn't another car in sight. Was this someone's sick joke? Or worse, something supernatural? It wasn't until I later shared my story with locals that I learned of the legend. Decades ago, they said, a trucker met a violent end on that very stretch of Route 66. And now, he haunts the road, targeting unsuspecting travelers. They told me I was lucky to make it out alive. But I didn't feel lucky. I felt haunted, especially by that voice, the promise of something worse. It was late, far later than I'd hoped to be driving. Midnight, maybe a little past, as I pushed through fatigue on an unfamiliar highway winding through Appalachia. The darkness was oppressive, and my eyelids grew heavier with each mile. That's when I saw the faint glow in the distance. A rundown motel, its flickering neon sign cutting through the endless night. I told myself this wasn't the plan. I wasn't supposed to stop. But exhaustion had other ideas. I pulled into the crumbling lot, the gravel crunching under my tires. The front desk clerk barely glanced at me as they slid a rusted key across the counter. The room smelled of mildew, and the decor felt like it came from another era. Threadbare curtains, peeling paint, outdated wallpaper. None of it mattered. I tossed my bag on the floor and collapsed into bed, hoping sleep would come fast. It didn't. At 3 a.m., I woke to the sound of footsteps pacing outside my door. Slow, deliberate. My chest tightened as I crept to the peephole, steeling myself to confront whoever was there. But when I peered through, the hallway was empty. Confusion morphed into unease, and I spent the rest of the night curled up in bed, every creak of the old motel stirring my paranoia. By morning, I wanted nothing more than to leave. My car offered a sense of safety, a familiarity I clung to as I drove away. Hours later, curiosity drew me back to the spot where the motel had been. It was gone. Not just closed, but vanished entirely. No sign of its neon glow, no gravel lot. Locals told me no such place had existed there for years. To this day, I can still hear those footsteps pacing outside, still feel the oppressive air of that room. And sometimes, late at night, I wonder, did I leave that motel? Or did a part of me stay behind forever? So guys, if you ever find yourself alone on a dark road, remember these stories, because some horrors don't stay in the past. Like and subscribe for more chilling tales, and let us know in the comments. Which story haunted you the most? Stay safe out there. And whatever you do, don't look back.